How'd it feel to see that 3 go down?
Really good. Felt really good.
Bronny James has been one of the most interesting stories throughout this entire offseason, and we're going to take a look at how things were when the summer league first begun and how things are sort of shifting right now and why that might be.
He scored 4 points a game at USC. I mean, jeez. I mean, he'd be on the bench. He wouldn't even play at UConn.
He got drafted. What happens now is all on him.
Yes.
Bronny James.
James, air ball. James, the air balls.
I'm just making a suggestion. Until he's ready, he should be in the G. Only because I think if he's in the locker room, they're gonna bother LeBron James. They're gonna bombard him every day. And if they don't bother him, they're gonna bother Bronny.
Let's stop evaluating him like he's a lottery pick. He's an if, like every other 55th pick in the NBA draft.
Hate me. I don't want to hear none of that. Just say the young man played well, and we'll see can he continue to do that. That's all we can do. Can he continue to do it? Me personally, I think the boy can.
So Bronny James Summer League time is now over, and now is a perfect chance to talk about the good, the bad, and all of the noise surrounding Bronny James as a whole, because we all know there was a lot of things being said about Bronny James in the beginning. Some things fair, some things not as fair, but honestly, more of these comments stem from how Bronny James made it to the position that he is in now, getting drafted obviously because of who his dad is, receiving what is basically a 4-year stimulus package to prove himself in the league. So a lot of people looked at that and thought to themselves, Bronny should not have ever been in that position to begin with. He should have stayed 1 more year in college. And on the I myself fall right in the middle of that, because I understand why people would look at him and say that he should go back to college, as well as those who see how he made it to where he is and look at that as a turnoff. But right before we knew he was going to enter into the NBA draft, I myself wanted him to go back to college, and there are multiple reasons for that. But 1, I knew that he was NBA ready, but for 2, and more importantly, I wanted Bronny to develop more and do whatever he could to possibly minimize the shadow of being LeBron James's son, a shadow that is so big that it would never go away, but he could at least stamp his own path. Then we find out that he's going to enter into the NBA draft. The combine workouts were a mixed bag, and by the end of all of that, he was projected to go to the Lakers, which was a shock to no one. He gets drafted and then proceeds to get a 4-year deal. Then he plays in his first summer league game, and we all know that it wasn't that good. In that debut, he had 4 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. The following game, he would miss with knee swelling, and the jokes about him already low managing would roll in easily. And so at this point, a lot of people were looking at this, waiting to see if he could actually turn this around or put up another bad game. But as you know, he would put up another bad game, only scoring 3 points, but in his defense, he was 1 of 3 from the field. So a lot of people said that he simply did not take those many shots. He added 5 rebounds with 3 assists and 2 turnovers. But it was at this exact point where a lot of people were beginning to look at Bronny James and double down on their takes that he should not be in this league at all. And in this next game, he really did not help his case, having 8 points, but he was 3 of 14 from the field with 5 rebounds and 3 turnovers. And as soon as people thought it couldn't get any worse, he would go out there and have 2 points in his following game. Now, it was at this point though where the noise got as loud as it possibly could, because if you check the comment section of any social media where there was a highlight of Bronny James being played, he was getting absolutely cooked. And taking a look at some of these old comments, this is what you're gonna see. Dad, let's retire. I blame LeBron for this. Who remembers when LeBron tweeted, Bronny is better than a lot of players in the league? I can't believe this dude's getting a highlight reel for airballing. And then this last one, not even gonna read it. I'll let y'all do that. And yes, most of this was because of his play. You add the fact that many believe and will find any reason to say that he should not be in this position to begin with. And on top of all of that, I don't remember seeing guys get highlight reels for having stat lines like Bronny James had, which made the spotlight on Bronny that much brighter. Anytime that he did anything, we were reminded about it and shown it. And we all know he got there in a very unorthodox way, and that's all thanks to LeBron James. Oddly enough though, I started to feel bad for the kid. As I stated in a video I made after the game where he scored 2 points, many people countered that and said they feel absolutely nothing by this situation because this is exactly what LeBron James wanted. And even though that's true, I still couldn't help myself but to say, damn, Lil Bro is getting absolutely cooked in these comment sections. But then the switch up came in Bronny's 12-point game, where he did play better. Many say that after the Jaylen Brown comments that Bronny
took offense to that. It became personal with me.
where you will see a stat line of 12 points, 5 of 11 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3-point range, 1 rebound, and 1 turnover. Is that the greatest stat line of all time? No, but in that game, he did show that he can play better offensively as well as defensively. And to me, he simply looked like a guy who shook the nerves off and began to play his game. And in the following game, he had 13 points, 5 of 10 from the field, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 turnovers. And so after that, the comment section would look more like this. I don't know about other people, but I want to see Bronny do well in the NBA and prove the haters wrong. When he plays aggressively and doesn't remain frozen in that corner, he's an entirely different player with the ball in his hands. Movement is key. Damn, Bronny low-key surprised me. I was hating, but he's been getting better. So the switch up was real, for real. Honestly, all Bronny James has to do is play well, and for the most part, the Heat would back off. However, in fairness to some of the people doing the critiquing, some, if not all of that criticism was fair. Bronny looked uncomposed and not good in the games prior to his last 2. And from what I saw in college, people didn't really have an incentive to believe that it would get much better. Could it have been nerves or the pressure? Sure, but that doesn't matter. At the NBA level, you are going to deal with that on a daily basis. So it was easy to be hard on him because his play wasn't that good. And just because he is the son of LeBron James does not mean that he is somehow above being criticized. And to be honest with you, that fact alone is the very reason why he is going to be criticized more than anyone else. And he can't help the fact that he is LeBron James' son, but he is. It wouldn't matter if he was Mr. Irrelevant or undrafted or the #1 pick. And a lot of people say, well, he's the 55th pick. He shouldn't really be critiqued like that because he's only a 2nd round prospect. But in all honesty though, this is uncharted territory. Bronny James is by far the most interesting player in this draft. He has a backstory. He has some people that are rooting for him. He has some people that are not. And it doesn't matter which camp you are in. That love and hate brings eyes and views. And so I'll say this again, he is not the best player in this draft, but he is the most interesting player in the draft, and he's the most popular player in this draft class. And I will use my personal favorite player in this draft class as an example, and that is Stephon Castle. I think he will emerge as a top 3 guy from this draft, if not the best. But even after coming out of March Madness as a NCAA champion, he is not more talked about or more popular than Bronny James. Neither is his former teammate in Donovan Clingan or the championship runner-up Zach Edey, nor is the #1 pick in the draft or the 2nd pick in the draft. And speaking of the #2 pick in the draft, he's been looking really bad lately. And this is a guy many people thought should have been the #1 pick in the draft until he pulled the okie doke on Atlanta and didn't go out there to work out. And so right now, the Washington Wizards are praying that they get the pre-Alex Sarr and not this current version, because in my honest opinion, what I've seen from him so far is just selfish and bad basketball, but it's not talked about like when Bronny James did it. And that goes back to what I said earlier. People don't care as much because he is not as interesting or as popular of a player. Does that make it right? No, but sometimes things are what they are. The microscope is bigger for certain individuals. The truth of all of this is all of these prospects do deserve time. Alex Sarr is going to need time. Bronny is going to need time, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that criticism isn't going to come their way when they don't play that good. This is the NBA, and criticism is going to be all over the place, especially if you are a player that has more popularity. It's going to be interesting to see though who emerges as the best player from this draft, especially when it isn't the flashiest draft class, but those type of draft classes always birth someone who is going to pop up out of nowhere. Hopefully though it's Dalton Connect, because as a Laker fan I love to see it. But But what do you guys think? Who will emerge as the best player in this draft? And will Bronny prove that he is indeed an NBA level guy within these next 4 years? Comment down below your thoughts and opinions. Subscribe if you made it this far. But as of right now, I gotta go cover some more NBA and NFL news, as well as throw some more touchdowns and road to glory. So if you have not already though, make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate that. Y'all stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.